How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Flame, and we are back with another video. And today we're going to be taking a look at Gareth Southgate's final 23-man squad for the Euros. I'm very excited to look at this, and we'll see who made it and who didn't. We got news that Mason Greenwood was potentially leaving due to injury. Jesse Lingard might not make it. Trent Alexander-Arnold might make it. Now he's not making it. Now he's making it again. There was all these different rumors going up in the air, but we'll take a look at the squad in depth and see who made it and who didn't, and compare it to our predictions. If you haven't done so already, make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. And drop us a follow over on Twitter so that you can keep up to date with all the news over the Euros as well as FPL for the next season. And drop us a follow over on Twitch. We will be doing our preview and deadline streams for FPL next season over there, as well as some fun stuff throughout the kind of FPL break, as it were. I still haven't sorted out the kind of issue that I have with my capture card. So what I might have to do is just get FIFA for PC and just play the career mode that way. Haven't ruled it out yet. I'm still waiting on a couple of things, and if that's the worst case scenario, I'll test it out tomorrow or Thursday, and we'll go on. We'll start it off on Friday at the latest. So be sure to check out for that. And that's going to be over on Twitch as well. So without further ado, let's see the 23-man squad. So this is Gareth Southgate's final 23-man squad. Also, the players that were in the provisional squad that are not in this squad will be considered as provisional players in that sense. In the case of an injury, all the way up until the last day before the opening game, basically. You can have your lineups changing around, and you can submit, different players into your lineup, out of your lineup, into your roster, out of your roster, those sorts of things, in case of an injury or COVID or something like that were to take place. But let's take a look at the squad itself. So goalkeepers, no surprises there. Dean Henderson, Sam Johnston, and Jordan Pickford. So basically, the only one missing out there would be Ramsdale. And we kind of figured that he wouldn't make it, and my writing's awful, so pardon that. But I kind of figured that he wouldn't make it. I'm pretty sure Gareth Southgate knew that he wasn't going to make it either, but he picked the fourth goalkeeper there just because to have somebody in the camp who can maybe get some experience. Maybe he gets a cap in one of these two friendlies that they have before the tournament itself. Because he said there's going to be players that are involved that were cut. And yeah, so it should be quite interesting on that front. Into the defenders, where it really gets interesting. So not one, not two, not three, but four. Gareth Southgate has picked all four right backs. Now, me personally, I believe I said I wouldn't pick Trippier out of the four. I would only take just the three. But Southgate likes all of them. He says they're all fantastic footballers. We picked our best 26 footballers, and I can see his point there. Like, there's no one in this team where I can basically say they don't deserve to go. I think everyone in the 33 probably deserved to go, and I think that some were hard done by. Maybe Ramsdale was probably like the only one that I would say is probably definitely not better than Dean Henderson, Sam Johnston, and Pickford, but I think the rest of them definitely had a shot. So he ended up going with all four right backs, and immediately to me, this shouts, he's got 10 defenders on this list, 4 right backs, 2 left backs, 4 out-and-out center backs. This means he's probably going to be playing a back 5. Now, we probably don't want to see a back 5 because if you look at the number of attacking talents we have up front, or that can play in like those attacking midfield or wide roles, it's quite good for England's squad. And I say we as in, somebody who plays FPL and follows the English Premier League the most. Therefore, I want to be rooting England on. But for my international team, it's actually Italy. For those that don't know, that's the team that I picked the most because of Francesco Totti is my favorite player of all time. So moving into, like I said, the defense. The two players that basically miss out here are the two Bens. So you have Ben Godfrey, who's center back for Everton. And then you also have Ben White, two players that we probably didn't expect to go. We probably expected Mings, Cody, Stones, Harry Maguire to all go if they're fit. And I think that's going to be the case, assuming that they are fit. it's just the right backs is the interesting part. I think the two center backs can definitely get some, potentially they could make it into the team. Harry Maguire, according to Southgate, is very touch and go as to whether he will make the first game versus Croatia. So we'll have to see on that one, because if he's not ready for the first game, then you're talking about, okay, is he ready for the second game? Is he ready for the third game? Then you're looking at knockouts 3 games in. So it is going to be quite difficult, and they're going to be playing once every 3 to 4 days in most cases. So it is going to be quite interesting to see if he does actually make the final squad. But if fit, I think Harry Maguire definitely goes. I have no problems with the defenders that he dropped. Midfield, I think, is hard done by here. The midfielder that was chosen out of these to not make it was James Ward-Prowse of Southampton, someone who's been quite good for Southgate over the past 6 months. When he has played on international duty, is a fantastic set piece taker, probably the best English set piece taker in probably the country, I would say. Probably definitely ahead of the likes of Mason Mount, definitely ahead of Harry Kane, who's not that great of a free kick taker. He's very good on penalties. He's better than Trent Alexander-Arnold for sure, who's also very good. Sean Chilwell, decent delivers of the ball on the left foot. Ward-Prowse is miles better on both sides of both corner flags and free kicks as well. So I think Ward-Prowse can find himself to be quite hard done by, and you'll see that the midfielders, as it were, there's only 5 of them. Now, if you look at it, 2 of them are only really defensive midfielders, in Calvin Phillips and Declan Rice. Jude Bellingham, and Mason Mount, and Jordan Henderson can all play box to box or like an attacking midfield role. Jordan Henderson probably a little bit more on the defensive side though, but he has played very few games, but he can play that role if he needs to, because he does have a good pass on him, but more known for his defensive attributes. But I think Mason Mount you could probably consider to be kind of both in the front, the attack and the midfield, just like I think you can consider Phil Foden and Jack Grealish and Bukayo Saka as part of the midfield as well, because they're attacking midfielders in that sense. Whereas like Sancho, Rashford, Sterling, Kane, Calvert-Lewin, they're all kind of, their main position is they play somewhere across the front 3. Foden can play in the midfield too, so there's kind of like hybrid players, as it were. And then moving on to that front 3 as well, players that miss out. So one of them was Mason Greenwood, who is somebody who I thought potentially would get cut, but not for that particular reason. It's cut off there. Let me just fix that so we can see it a little bit better. Move it down. But Mason Greenwood apparently went to Southgate a couple of days ago on the Friday, and basically he said that he had a little bit of an injury that he kind of needed to clear up. So good on him for doing that and recognizing when you're injured, not really wanting to press it. I wish Rashford would do it, because he's been playing injured for the last 2 years, basically, according to himself. So England is something that is, this kind of milestone, as it were. You want to go play for your country in a major tournament. That's kind of, you play club football in hopes of getting to play for your country as well, or at least most players do. The 6th player to miss out is a controversial one, and that is I've written that horribly, but it's Jesse Lingard. Ignore the writing there. But Jesse Lingard misses out. I believe he was actually under the midfielders, which is weird, because again, he's an attacking midfielder, much like Jack Grealish is, much like Phil Foden can be, but was placed in the midfield slots as well. And he missed out because I think, like Southgate said, he was a million miles away from the team, and then he made a late surge for it. And I think that if, let's say Henderson can't go, I think he'll take Lingard. I think that'll be the person that he takes over James Ward-Prowse personally, because he likes Lingard a lot. And then lastly, the other player to not make it is another forward, and that is Ollie Watkins. Now, this is, people say, oh, it's risky because of he was one of these players that was doing well, scored on his debut. But if you look at the forwards that England have to offer, Calvert-Lewin, Foden, Grealish, Kane, Rashford, Saka, Sancho, Sterling, you could even put Mount in there. you know, there's a lot of different players that can play across that like supposed front three. Um, and I just think that Watkins is too one-dimensional in that sense. Yes, he's a different kind of forward to the likes of Calvert-Lewin or Kane. Like he does offer something different. But I still think that you know he can only basically play the number 9 role, and in most cases you can have various different players play the number 9 role. You can have Kane, you can have Sterling, you can have Sancho, you can have Calvert-Lewin, you can have Foden, you can have Rashford. There's so many different players you can have up front there, and the likelihood that they all get injured is probably slim and none. And yeah, I think you can definitely make do with that. And I think they would all be better replacements, assuming they're all fit and ready to go, than the likes of Ollie Watkins. So again, it is quite harsh. I always think taking 3 forwards is probably, depending on the squad, is a bit overkill, because unless you're playing a 4-4-2 system, in which case then 3 forwards, maybe even 4, is probably it's probably valid. And by forwards, I mean like number 9. So, yeah, so in the midfield, they went light with the 5 midfielders: Bellingham, Henderson, Mount, Calvin Phillips, and Rice, just to run over who made it. And then in the forward line, Calvert-Lewin and Kane as the number 9s, Phil Foden, Grealish, Rashford, Saka, Sancho, Sterling as kind of like the wide player. Saka, I would say, is probably the most surprising inclusion. That may have been because Greenwood was left out, because he's claimed himself to have an injury that needed to be cleared up. So maybe Saka could get in the squad that way, which is nice to see, because I think he's a very versatile player. He can play anywhere across the front three if he wanted to. He could play anywhere in either wing back role. He can play on either wing as well. He can play left back as well. He's a very versatile player. So yeah, very interesting squad indeed. Will Southgate stick with it? Will there be injuries that crop up? We don't know. But based on this team, if I had to kind of predict what Southgate's team is going to be, I'm just going to erase this really quickly. I think he's going to go with a 3-4-3. I think that's what Southgate prefers. I just don't see anything else based on the selection that he had with these 4 right backs. You're not taking 4 right backs unless either it's one of 2 things. One, you have no clue who you're going to play still. Or 2, you're playing one of them, or you're playing a couple of them every time you go to play. So you have one at wingback and one at basically right-sided centre-back, which would make sense. If he had taken 4 left-backs as an example, you would think that he'd be playing one at left-back and like as a left-sided centre-back and one at left wing-back. So for me, Southgate's going to go with his formation is going to be probably a 3-4-3 of some kind. He's going to have Jordan Pickford as his goalkeeper. His 3 center backs, if they're fit, will most likely be Walker, Harry Maguire, and John Stones. Maybe Maguire's on the left, Stones in the middle. It all depends. As his right wing back, he's probably going to have Reece James, if I had to guess, because Reece James was excellent. He's going to have Declan Rice and Jordan Henderson, most likely. At left wing back, I would say he could even play Trippier, because Trippier was in the interview today during the squad announcement. But I think Luke Shaw has been so good. Chilwell has been really good as well. I personally think he goes with Luke Shaw. I just think Luke Shaw has been very, very good across the whole season, but especially in the second half of the season, he really stepped up his game. And then the front 3, he's probably going to go with like kind of a number 10 or a free role, and that's going to be his one of his favorite players, if not his favorite player, Mason Mount. And then he's going to go with probably Harry Kane, and then alongside him, assuming fitness, I think he's going to go with probably the likes of Marcus Rashford. This is the team I would expect him to go. If everyone was on form, this is the team I would probably expect him to go for. Me personally, I wouldn't play this system. I would play a 4-3-3 myself. I would have Dean Henderson in goal. I would have Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back. I would have Harry Maguire and Stones as my centre backs. I would have probably Luke Shaw at left back. I would have Declan Rice as the holding midfielder, Jude Bellingham playing a box to box role, with Mason Mount as my kind of more creative would it be a free eight? Bellingham and Mount will play as like free eights. On the right, I'd have Sancho. On the left, I would probably have Phil Foden. And then up front, I would have Harry Kane and be using the likes of Jack Grealish, Marcus Rashford, and those sorts to come on and make an impact later on in the game. That's what I would play in most situations. If we wanted to go a bit more attacking, maybe you can go 4-2-3-1, and you can kind of put Mount in like the kind of the double pivot, because you definitely can play that. If you put like two box-to-box players, it can work quite well rather than having like a box-to-box and a CDM. So if you have like Henderson and Mount, two players that cover ground very well, both very astute defensively, you can get away with that, I think. And then you can have like a Foden in the 10, you can have Grealish on the left, Sancho on the right, and Kane up top. So yeah, and that's just my opinion. I think Southgate's going to go defensive, and that's just because of this number of defenders right here: 4 right backs, 4 out and out center backs, and 2 left backs in his squad. Now this can still change. They have up until the day before. It's either the first tournament game or it's the first game that England play. I'm not sure, to lock in their roster, but we will see how the friendlies go. I believe they play one tomorrow against Romania, if I'm not mistaken. So we will see how that goes for them. But yeah, that's Gareth Southgate's squad. Let us know what you think about his squad selection in the comments down below, and hopefully England can pull it out in the Euros in 2020, even though it's 2021, the 2020 Euro competition. However, there's a fun fact that I found which may not bode well for them. There's only been one team out of like the big nations. So when you think of like France, Germany, Spain, those sorts of teams, they've only beaten one of those like major regions in a knockout like part of the tournament, and that was Spain. And it was a very terrible Spain team. They beat them on penalties, and Spain should have probably won in normal and extra time, because they had a goal disallowed, which shouldn't have been disallowed. And that's the only time they've ever beaten one of those teams in a knockout stage. When it mattered. Every time England since 1966, which when they won it all basically, and they had a very good road going up to. I think it was like they beat Portugal and West Germany on that run in '66. So let's hope that this squad, which has a bunch of generational talented players, can do the business, and I'll be rooting for them as well. Although if they do come against Italy, I'm gonna have to root against them, unfortunately. But yeah, that's it for Gareth Southgate's squad. And that's going to do it for Gareth Southgate's 23-man final squad announcement. If you have enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. And drop us a follow over on Twitter, so you can keep up to date with all the different videos and stuff that we're going to be doing on the channel over the FPL off season and during the Euros, as well as give us a follow over on Twitch. We're going to be hopefully starting our Manchester United career mode over on Twitch, so we'll see how we do. I'm going to keep all the players that United have. You know, Donny van de Beek, Cavani. I'm not going to make any signings, and I'm going to see if I can beat Ole Gunnar Solskjaer on World Class. I'm not that great of a FIFA player, and I think World Class I might even struggle on. We'll see how well we can do. Maybe I get the sack. Maybe I go all the way and win us some silverware, but we will see on that front. So look forward to that. I should be able, if everything goes to plan, and I just have to do it via just buying it on PC. We should be starting that either Thursday or Friday. Thanks for watching, and until the next one, take care.